Okay, I'm at the Hamfest up here in Newark on 2019 with Simone Wilson. We spoke to Simone before at the Radio Centre up at Bletchley Park. How are you doing, Simone?
I'm doing fine, thank you very much. And how are you today?
Yeah, well, I'm ducking and diving. It's coming to the end of the show, and I'm sure you're sort of wanting to get home as well, but it's been a great show, hasn't it?
It's been a wonderful show. Apart from a bit of weather yesterday, it really did rain cats and dogs.
Well, that's a polite way of putting it, but yes, I give you that one. So we're here today. You're checking contest logs, aren't you? You're checking entries that have come in.
Yes, that's exactly what I do. If you like, my volunteering for the Radio Society of Great Britain started off as a contest adjudicator, and I still do it. I've been doing it for 10 years, I think, now. So I thought I would like to demystify the process, to show people what is actually done. So I'm doing some live adjudication of a very recent contest, i.e. the Autumn Series 80-metre data contest that ran on Thursday, just gone.
Yeah, that's very good. Now, I must admit, I've never seen this done, and I jokingly said to you we weren't going to do this interview unless you told us how we did in SSB Field Day. But no, I was joking. But it must be quite a nightmare getting it all in, so take us through what you do.
Actually, it's not so much of a nightmare as you'd think. So everybody, when they submit their logs to the robot produces them and then presents the adjudicator with a list, and the list I've got on the screen here, and it shows the contestants' entries. It gives us a rough idea if there's a problem. So the first job that we always do is we look down this list and we look to see if in this area here, if these three columns, if there's any entries, because those will highlight a problem. Wrong button, there we are. So what we've got here for an entrant PA4G, so we've got one from Holland. He's got QSO's number 17 and 36 and 40 to 54, so that's a range. Yeah. And in that column, that means that he's got the wrong mode. Bearing in mind that our data contests in the Autumn Series, and of course exactly the same in the 80-metre CC data section, they're dual mode. So you've got PSK and PSK 63 now and RITI running side by side. So here what it's telling me is that this person has potentially not differentiated, but it's highlighting them, so that means that there's something not quite right. It's not either PS or RY that they've put in the mode thing. So I'll have a little look at that when I've downloaded it. Well, I did actually, and it turned out that he put PK in for the PSK mode when it should be PS.
So effectively, you allowed him it because it was an obvious typo error on his part and not a trying to cheat.
Yes, I edited it for him so that it would work nicely. So once I've downloaded the logs, then I get them. I load them into the software, and I run up our adjudication software called AdjuDQT, and I will go and look on the calendar for the contest I'm adjudicating, which in this case is the Autumn Series data for the 26th of September. I select the contest. I go into the adjudication settings to make sure that I apply penalties to naughty people, and the out by one is allowed. There's software problems. I also tick the little boxes for the output files that I want for post-contest checking. And then when I do that, I then tell it where the files are, which is there, and then I hit go. Now, 35 seconds later, that contest is adjudicated. Automatically, all done. All it leaves is the poacher turned gamekeeper job to do, and that's the exciting bit for me.
Right. Well, it's interesting you got it all automated. I would have thought it was more manual, but looks very good.
There's a lot of automation in this now because the common errors or common things we're looking for, our programmer, Mike, has automated. But anything he's not sure of, he makes sure the computer then highlights it to the adjudicator, say, what's this about?
Right. So let's say all on interestingly. So you talk about poacher being gamekeeper. Explain that one.
Well, I'm a contester. Contesting is one of my things. We've all got our thing in this, and contesting is one of my things. I love the social aspect of contesting, especially field day and so on. It's wonderful. Go out for barbecue and beer in a field. What could be better? And so I've contested all my amateur career, and I got taken, roped into adjudicating, and that's it. And it's rather nice actually, because I know all the tricks and of the trade, or most of them, and so I can apply those tricks and so on to the adjudication process. Something's not right here, and you get this spider tingle sense, which tells you that something's off. And it has worked. I've caught a couple of cheaters in my time, which has been good fun.
Yeah, you're always going to get cheaters. I know from our club, we're not a serious contest club. We go out, we play radio, we thoroughly enjoy ourselves. And this year, SSB Field Day, we worked hardly any UK stations, lots into Germany and out that way. But there was still a lot on, even if we didn't hear UK stations.
Yeah, well, yes, of course. There are a lot on, but it's good. It's good fun, and it's just the aspect. The thing for me is, though, having chosen to adjudicate contests, I used to love doing the CC contests on 80 metres, but becoming an adjudicator meant that personally, I could no longer enter a contest that I was adjudicating. That's just my point of view. Doesn't stop me contesting elsewhere, though.
No. I understand that, and in fairness, I understand why you can't go into contests if you're the final say on that. But there is a difference. Contesting can be fun. I'm not a big contester, and most people know that. But I'd have nothing against it. I've worked some great contests, and going along with the people that like to operate and just being in the background is also fun, isn't it?
Oh, it's fabulous. It is the social side of contesting that is perhaps the best. Although, one of the lovely things is a pile-up. Who doesn't want to work on, sit in a radio station going bang, 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 in the cut of the chase, or you being a wanted station. You don't normally experience this at home, but in a contest you do experience high-speed operating, as it were. It doesn't matter if it's voice or CW or data mode, you still experience being chased and so on.
Yeah. Well, as I say, people know I don't do many contests, but I can understand the attraction, and it is great fun. We've done SSB Field Day a couple of weeks ago. That was great fun as a club. We had some new members of the club, some of which weren't licensed, but they thoroughly enjoyed the weekend.
Yeah, and that is what contesting is for me, is the social side, getting out in the field, putting up as best a radio station as you can, far better than you ever could hope for at home, unless you're lucky enough to have a 4-acre field as part of your property. Anyway, so that's it. Right, we're now in the position where we've now got to look at the results that have been calculated, because there are some contacts that need to be checked. Now, in most cases in the competition, I've received a log from two people who've worked each other. So if you like, is properly confirmed contact by two-way. But many people come up and give points away in a contest. And they go through and they'll work through the band, work everybody on the way through, and then go off and go and have a cup of tea. And they don't bother to send their log in. But we can see these contacts because people do send them in on their logs and their entries, and we can reconstitute their logs from these people, and we call them fabricated logs. And that is where we spend all our effort now, is into the fabricated logs. And this software will bring all the fabricated logs up into a list. And what I do, and I look at the fabricated logs, I look for call signs is usually the one. So instantly I can see, remember this is an 80 meter contest. I've got A4 Alpha 4 Kilo Quebec Yankee. Well, we're not going to work Alpha 4 here on 80 metres, are we?
Definitely not working in the States.
There's something not quite right there. So let's have a little look down the list. So let's assume that A has been incorrectly decoded. So we'll look for a G instead. So a G4KQY. And when we get into the list, sure enough, in there is a G4KQY. It's in there. And now when I check back between these two, I can see that the A4KQI data submitted fits into the right place, except somebody else has got the data in there. So that meant there were two people thinking that one station was talking to them, but only one of them was being logged.
Yeah.
It's common in contesting.
Yeah. So I suppose because it's a data contest, and we don't do bit error correction on the data coming across, you will get genuine errors and not operator errors, because if you get a bit flip or something, it'll come out as a different character.
You can get, because in RTTY you've got the letters and number shift, which so that it doubles the amount of codes that can be transmitted, numbers and letters, you see. But so sometimes that shift doesn't happen, and then you get a whole load of garbage. But it can be an occasion that just in Morse you can miss a dit, and it changes the character you've received. And the same can be true in RTTY, that the computer's not hearing the one bit of the two-tone, and instead of G, it got A, and so on. So, and it's not operator error, because it's machine decoding here. It's not operators doing the decoding, although I have met one or two who can decode RTTY before now.
Yeah, there's always those around. Many moons ago, when I was first in the computer industry, I knew a guy who literally could talk machine code, and so it doesn't surprise me people can decode RTTY.
Yes, no, quite. So, the last bloke I knew could do it was G3KTZ, Ron. He could decode RTTY and have a conversation with you at the same time.
Sounds an interesting character.
Yeah, so I will go through this list looking for anomalies, things that say to me, that isn't right in the fabricated list. So that's call signs, malformed call signs. That is, I will have there's an instance on here of two call signs where only one character is out, and they're side by side, so the last character is corrupted for one of them. But it's obvious which one it is, because it's only got one QSO as opposed to 6 or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I just look through for these, because they're all allowed, these fabricated QSOs, unless I say no, and that's where I spend all my time. It's a couple of hours of gentle screen tapping and checking through, and occasionally, sometimes I have to email people, which will then hold up the results. But I can do the whole thing in about 2 hours.
Right. So once you finish this, what's the next process?
Once this is done, then I will rerun the adjudication cycle just to update the output results file. I will then upload those to the contest committee's website for them to have a look at. They're in draft form, so it goes for peer review. I will write do a little write-up on the contest, and then whatever my colleagues on the contest committee will come back with, you've missed this or that, and the other. So we would peer review each other's results. Okay, and then I just press the publish, and everybody gets the results.
Right. So it's quite a long-winded, but you say you can get it done in a few hours, which really impresses me. I would have thought it would have been days.
Well, yes, it would have been days. I don't think I'd be doing this if we were back in the paper logging days. That wouldn't interest me at all.
That's good. So how do the people then find out whether they've won, or you publish a list, do you?
Well, when you enter your log, you're asked if you want to be emailed the results through the robot. So the robot takes your email address, and then we'll contact you the moment the results are out and send you your results. Then you can go to the website. If you've provided appropriate details, you can down your UBN, file for your uniques and busteds logs, so you can see where things went wrong. This will help you, especially if you've got errors, to know what you were doing wrong and correct them for next time. But usually it's silly mistakes missed up in here, because a lot of automation is used in RTTY contesting. People click call signs off the screen. They don't actually look at the call sign and think that's not right. They'll just go, oh, it's sort of a call sign, I'll use it. And then they forget to correct it in their log. And that will lose them points, and it costs them a penalty of 1 QSO as well. So making an error is expensive.
That sounds reasonable to me.
Okay, so that's the process. It's really quite simple. And thanks to Mike, whose software this is, G0GJV, Mike Goody. His software is absolutely superb and is the backbone by which all the RSGB contest sits.
Right, and obviously you talk about the robot sending the results out, but I assume, well, I do know, I shouldn't assume, I know the results get published in RADCOM as soon as possible after.
They're not.
Are they?
No,
I thought they were.
In the old days, we used to publish our results in RADCOM, but that's all gone now. We haven't had results in RADCOM for many years. It's all online.
And I'm going to get caught out now and beaten up badly by the boys, I know, for that one, because I do read RADCOM.
Yeah, but when was the last time you saw results in RADCOM?
Well, I'm not a contester, so I skipped that section. But yeah. So that's very, very good. And listen, thank you for your time on this, because it's been quite interesting. I'm sure that our listeners will be interested in what goes on in the background, because, like me, I guarantee a lot of people didn't know what went on in the background. So thanks very much for that, Simone.
No, it's my great pleasure. And I should give a big shout out to Pete, G4 CLA, because without his robot, we would be, which looks after all the entries coming in, all the displaying of the results, and all the analysis data that he makes, it would be, our contesting service wouldn't be as good as it is.
Well, that's great. Listen, Simone, thank you very much for your time. Most appreciated, and we'll catch up with you again at another event.
Indeed we shall. Cheerio. Bye-bye now.